Butcher's Creek. Now that name alone sounds like something straight out of a backwoods horror movie.
Take some pictures.
And yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. Except you're not watching it, you're living it. Butcher's Creek, a first-person melee horror game by David Szymanski of Dusk and Ironlung fame, and released on January 23, 2025. This game takes us deep into the Appalachian wilderness, where survival depends on scavenged weapons, quick reflexes, and the unsettling compulsion to document gory carnage.
Fantastic!
Inspired by cult classics like Condemned Criminal Origins and Manhunt, Butcher's Creek offers an intense, atmospheric, and focused experience. But does it deliver on all fronts? Let's find out. At its core, Butcher's Creek is a melee-focused survival horror game with brutal, weighty combat. Players wield an assortment of blunt and bladed weapons: hammers, axes, pipes, and box cutters, each with a distinct feel. Swinging a sledgehammer is slow but devastating, while a box cutter allows for quick but weak slashes. Enemies react dynamically to attacks, staggering, blocking, or even countering depending on your approach. Combat isn't just about swinging wildly though. Timing is crucial. Well-timed attacks interrupt enemy lunges, and blocking at the right moment causes you to parry and creates openings. However, this entire system lacks depth. There are no real combos or advanced maneuvers you can do, making encounters feel somewhat repetitive over time. Each weapon more or less swings the same way, and even though they all have different conditions, break after a few fights, it's not enough to keep me on my toes. The stamina meter adds tension, preventing players from spamming attacks, but its implementation could be more refined. I often found myself running out of stamina just trying to get somewhere, which made me wonder why I even use stamina outside of combat in the first place.
From that day on, if I was going somewhere, I was running.
Weapons have 3 stats: the previously mentioned condition, speed, and damage. You can also find weapons with unique perks, like bigger range or making enemies bleed, but that's as far as it goes. Using a knife and a hammer may do different damage and effects on your enemies, but you won't ever feel that as much as I would want. You can also kick, and it quickly turns into your Swiss Army knife button, allowing you to kick enemies into pits, traps, or explosives into them. All of these interactions are very intentional and only happen in very specific levels, which makes them lose their novelty extremely fast. The enemy AI is competent but predictable. Some enemies rush blindly while others stalk cautiously, waiting for an opening.
Peter. The horse is here.
However, most encounters boil down to baiting attacks and countering, which becomes formulaic after literally the third fight in the entire game. There's very little difference between a bad guy in level 1 and a bad guy in level 13, as they all behave more or less the exact same, only having different numerical values for their health and player damage. A standout mechanic is the protagonist's compulsion to photograph violent scenes, which restores your health. The more gore and blood, the more health you get back. You can also smash a bad dude's face and photograph his fresh blood on the wall. This mechanic adds a really cool psychological layer to the experience, reinforcing the protagonist's disturbing fascination with violence. It also raises unsettling questions about the player's role. Are we merely observers, or active participants in the horror? Levels in Butcher's Creek are all distinct, both in setting and atmosphere, contributing to the game's oppressive tone. You start out by traveling through tunnels, and then find yourself in a hidden sawmill where you get captured by a sadistic gang. From there, you'll visit mine shafts, forests, and cultic houses, all graphically impressive and sounding really, really good. Butcher's Creek embraces a gritty, washed-out aesthetic reminiscent of early 2000s horror. The lighting is superb, with flickering bulbs and fog-drenched paths heightening the tension at every moment. The game's sound design is honestly its unsung hero. The creaking of old wood, the distant howls, and now the guttural growls of unseen enemies all create this horrifying soundscape. Combat sounds are equally visceral, where every hit truly feels impactful. But while each level is visually distinct, the gameplay, again, doesn't evolve that much. The lack of puzzles or varied objectives make progression feel repetitive, and there's a few sections where the game could benefit from a lot more interactivity beyond just combat. Butcher's Creek tells the story of a troubled loner drawn to an abandoned cabin by rumors of real snuff films. As he ventures deeper into the backwoods, he realizes he's not just a spectator, he's prey. The game slowly unravels his psyche, forcing players to question his motivations. Themes of voyeurism and desensitization to violence are central. The protagonist's need to photograph brutality reflects the player's own engagement with horror games. Why do we consume such media? At what point does morbid curiosity become complicity? The game subtly critiques this dynamic, though it never fully commits to an answer. The Appalachian setting isn't just aesthetic, it plays into themes of isolation, survivalism, and decay. The abandoned structures, superstitious graffiti, and eerie folklore suggest a deeper, almost mythological horror lurking beneath the surface. At multiple times throughout the game, you'll see blood on the walls detailing that the Watcher is watching. And at first, you have no reason to believe the Watcher is nothing more than this gang's leader or a figure of worship of some kind.
Jesus Christ.
But as you delve deeper and deeper into this gang's underground facility, you start wondering what the point of all this even is. They create snuff films and are hedonistic violent people, sure. But all this? Why? In the final level you find the Watcher's home, offerings at the door, dark hallway, stretching endlessly. Then the howls start. Not human, not even close. And as you step forward, it reveals itself. Psychedelic text pops on screen with fast cuts between each text, and we can put together that it says the Crimson Communion.
Watcher did not know that the do so would blow the back.
What? Okay, so we're the Tooth Sower, we're human, but what is the Watcher? I haven't played David's other games other than Iron Lung, so I'm unsure if there's more answers in his other projects. It's an ending that sticks with you, however. The build-up is masterful. The game arms you with a diamond pickaxe, literally, and lets you carve through waves of enemies. And then, oogly goo, Watcher comes for you.
Oogly goo!
Glimpses pots of blinding white and diamond screams of death with snow. The cup and raised with searing sun. The Watcher will arise, and a world that comes through the laughter of madness against the one.
This game is the best Condemned at home we got since Condemned 2, so play it. It's worth a playthrough. Here's hoping David makes a sequel to tap to this game's true potential. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very quick look at Butcher's Creek, a great way to kick off 2025 if you're a horror fan. Don't forget to do the YouTube jazz and join my Discord to keep up to date with the latest news on my future projects. That will be it for me. Thank you for watching yet again. My name's Fire, and I shall see you next time.